Hi guys, and welcome back to another Starcraft Remastered Replay cast. As once again we have a very interesting engagement from the South Korean scene. We have spawning here in the upper left part in the orange. It is super easy, and his opponent spawning here in the low right in the brown. It is BPP, but this is of course the AK from Best. I don't know which AK is this, but as you can see also from the APM, it's a very highly skilled game here as a spawning on a 4 spawning location map. So as you can see from the timer, a very long replay, quite an interesting one, very good Protoss versus Terran we have here. So yeah, just like in the previous replays, we're going to be watching the build orders very soon. It looks like Best just adding his pylon very next to his base, not going for a fast expansion build order, interesting enough. Perhaps he's going to try to early scout and attack with some zealots early on. In the meantime, the Terran also will very likely open up with a supply depot, or is he would have also saved for a fast expansion, but it looks like standard stuff for him. He's adding the supply depot next to this location, and he might block the entrance with a barracks very soon, allowing the zealots to move here forward. At the same time, he could also go for a fast expansion. So yeah, see what his plans are. You can see of course the production tab in the upper left part. Just in case I'm missing something, we have the gateway and gas now being made for Best, as more and more probes are getting produced and more SCVs also getting produced here for both players. So it's going to be very interesting to see what exactly the build order and the unit composition is going to be from the two players. You might see some zealots, some dragoons, like we've seen in previous replays on this channel. But the question is, are we going to be seeing a transition into some carriers or perhaps some arbiters for Protoss? We're about to find out. There's cybernetic score, so like he's not going for any zealots early on, he's going straight into dragoons. Dragoons of course early very good against the Terran, and we should of course see the Terran go for mech for those tanks, the Goliaths and vultures. Or is he going to perhaps try to do harassment with some dropships, with some marines? Could also be a possibility, as we see now the first scouts moving here out on the map. And yeah, the game goes on. Gas is getting mined. The same can be said here for the Protoss. So both players very early into mining that gas. We also see the upgrade for the Dragoon range, and very soon the first Dragoons will of course pop out. So no early aggression by the players. A wall off here for the Terran. Continuing with his factory, so he's playing very nicely, very defensively. No fast expansion attempt for both players, as the SCV now will arrive into the base from the Protoss, and the same can be said here for the probe. However, I don't think he's going to fit here forward into this gap. He's just checking the expansion. He might add a pylon here into this location just to buy some time, not to allow the Terran expand early on. And yeah, the SCV is of course also going to scout the first Dragoon moving here out. So pretty standard stuff. We are slowly but steadily closing in towards the 5-minute mark. So Dragoon taking care of this SCV, dealing good damage. Perhaps even some probes will deal damage to it, as the SCV will sadly fall here for the Terran. So a good first kill for the Protoss. And yeah, let's see either the expansion or the factory. It's actually a expansion build order here for the Terran, as he's building it very nicely here into this ledge. He's of course going to float it and land it here. He might have tried to build it here closer. Perhaps he would have won a little bit of time. And the first Dragoon is out here, perhaps just to see if there is going to be an early attack by the Terran. But of course the probe will give the first informations for him, as there is still no attempt here for the Terran to move out. One tank is already getting produced, so no vultures yet here for the Terran. Straight into tank and straight into siege tank ability. So it's good indicate to us of course that he wants to leave a tank into this ledge just to give more protection against the Dragoons if they would arrive. So very smart gameplay here by the Terran, very defensive gameplay, blocking the entrance. Of course the Protoss has no vision on the high ground. Now there is a tank here on the low, also on the high ground. And yeah, this position right here is pretty perfect to siege that tank up, as even his range without siege can cover this area right here. But yeah, the Protoss also plays it very safe. Fast expansion for him, pylon. Very soon he's going to block the entrance as well, I believe, as 2 gateways have been finished. So pretty standard stuff. Interesting decision here by the Terran. Finally his command center is uploading, and very soon there is the probe here seeing exactly what is going on. Also see a robotics facility base, so we might see some dropship harassment here by the Protoss with some reavers, or even Psionic Storm can be used. Psionic Storm, of course, in the late game very strong versus the tanks if they're sieged up, and the vultures. So yeah, in comes the move out. We even have a turret just in case there are some Dark Templar rushes. So the Terran very smartly here, preparing all of his defenses, preparing his macro game. The same can be actually said about the Protoss as well, as he has also 27 workers versus 27 workers. So very nice standard Terran versus Protoss we have here. As we also see an engineering bay giving a vision in case there is a drop happening. But yeah, no such thing here by the Protoss, as he might even try to take his other expansion points, searching for some mines here with the Dragoons. And he might even transfer a probe or two. So both players actually expecting a harassment, but no such thing is happening, as their expansions are now pumping out more and more of those minerals. So yeah, let's see when exactly, or if going to be a attack by any player. We see the observatory, of course, much needed, immediately getting scanned by the Terran. So the Terran knows that it's a standard stuff, the first observer. So getting produced, mines are also getting added, but as you can see on the minimap, there is no major move out yet. The Protoss actually securing this ramp. Also this ramp in the back would be secured by the other Dragoons, so very likely another expansion attempt here by the Protoss, as the Terran still stays home, still produces more tanks, more factories should be added very soon by him. Standard stuff here, and like I told you, no major move out yet, even though we're moving close towards the 10-minute mark. Still no major move out, still no Dragoons harassing the tanks, or actually the expansion for him. I believe this ledge right here could give a good opportunity for the Dragoons to attack, but there is of course the tank right here and the tank on the high ground. As we finally have a move out, I believe the Terran is going to try to attack and take this expansion right here as he's moving out. We saw so many units. Let's see if this is indeed his attempt here to take the expansion. Smart move by the Protoss, adding a pylon here, buying himself some time, so his expansion would finish much earlier here than the expansion from the Terran. So we're getting some good information. Sees the third factory, so he knows he's up against mass max. So could be a transition by the Protoss very soon into some carriers. Could be some arbiter gameplay here by him, or he could just stay straight into the mass from gateways, mass zealots with mass Dragoons, upgraded Dragoons. We're about to find out what is going to happen here, as the Protoss has nicely sent out here his servers throughout the map, as we see the other expansion here being attempted here by the Terran. So yeah, the Protoss with some nice gameplay here, adding the pylon, blocking the expansion, having vision of the third expansion, as his expansion has already been finished here. So a small advantage perhaps economic wise by the Protoss, as he has added the other expansion here at the 6 o'clock, almost 5 o'clock position. So the Terran finally move out with some vultures, with some mines. But yeah, still no major attacks, still play very safely here, very defensive gameplay here by the Terran. As we finally see the upgrades for the weapons here, and even a starport, so we could see some science vessels by him. We could even see a transition into battle cruisers, it would be very cool, and we actually see a Stargate by the Protoss. So is it going to be indeed arbiter gameplay, Templar archives for him, for Psionic Storm, and there's the Stargate. So either a transition into some arbiters to support the ground units, or massive amounts of carriers could also be an option here for him, as he has passed the 100 mark. He's going to send out some Dragoons, perhaps it's going to be a suicide mission just to detect some mines, or just to inflict some damage towards the tanks here. But I believe he's going to play it safe, just to scout the map for some mines with this one observer in the air. These observers give great information here about the movement from the Terran. So yeah, add-on will be given here towards the starport, and I believe we should be seeing some science vessels very soon with EMP Shockwave. EMP Shockwave, of course, a very strong spell to have versus the Protoss, as it shuts down the fields here from the Protoss and also takes down the energy from the arbiters. Very important. Yeah, at the same time the Terran still spreads out with his vultures, adding more and more of those mines around the map, giving him good vision, good map control. And yeah, I believe the Protoss going to just try to kill vulture and mines after mines, as he's now taking his 3 o'clock position here. Not moved by him. The Terran still tries to move out with his vultures, adding more mines, but yeah, the dragoons are of course a great counter against all of those vultures. Let's see, the high ground is of course in control of the Protoss, so those vultures will be very hard to move there forward, I believe. Yeah, the Terran has finally taken his second expansion, and hold on, actually there is an attempt here by the Terran, but the wall-off has been completed very smartly here by Best with some islands and just leaving a couple of dragoons back just to secure the important newly established base. Same time having this group here out on the map just to clear more and more of the lines. And notice those observers here by Best, very good triangle just to give him vision when exactly the army move out is going to happen here. But yeah, no such thing, the Terran playing very safely. No Goliaths for him. We can see actually the first arbiter is getting produced. Weapons 1 also getting produced. Is it already weapons 2? Just check very quick. Just 1 weapons. And it should be only 1 forge. We have a small engagement here. It's just vultures trying to pass forward, deal some damage. In the end, this will of course be shut down. So yeah, good attempt here by the Terran. He's going to leave some mines very likely here. This should be cleared as it's only 2 vultures here for him. Server is much needed for the Protoss, as he will be able to trap those vultures here and in the end take them out. Quite nice stuff by both players. But yeah, in the end this expansion will of course survive, as some probes will be transferred very soon here by the Protoss towards this expansion. So pretty standard stuff, no major engagement like I told you. Production tab looks very strong. We even have defense, the stasis field now being upgraded for the arbiters, and of course the stasis field very good versus all of those clumped up together tanks, just to take them out of the game. Of course they will not take any damage, but they will be frozen. However, they won't be able to attack, as we finally see the Protoss now move out slowly but steadily just to kill more and more of those mines. And at the same time, I believe he's going to try to secure this expansion right here, as he's just clearing more and more of those mines. And still no major move out here by the Terran. Let's check his upgrade. Should be 1 weapons upgrade. 1 Goliath is there to deal damage towards the observers. And yeah, look, once again a nice harassment this time by the Terran with a dropship and dealing good damage with those mines against the dragoons. So very good harassment. Let's see if he's going to be successful here. There is a cannon here, but he might try to drop all of those units to just snipe worker after worker. Once again, we have a move out by the Terran with the vultures in the middle of the map, but they will be of course shut down, as we even have a shuttle now, shuttle gameplay here by the some. So let's get some good connections. The Terran needs to be more careful, as yeah, shuttle gameplay it is going to be here, but where exactly is he going to attack? I believe around this location, but there are turrets, there are tanks. So let's see if he's going to commit. And let's also not forget about this dropship right here with vultures. Only 1 cannon here, but hold on, we actually have a huge move out here by the Protoss. However, it would be suicide to attack into so many tanks, so he's very likely going to decide to either double attack on different position. Actually looking like he's going to commit here forward. There is vision for the Terran with the science vessel. We might see a EMP shockwave. We actually see the first stasis trap. So many tanks are taken out, but the zealots in the front are doing a good job. However, they take so much damage. There's still tanks in the back. More and more damage is being taken here by the Protoss, as the Terran will of course hold his ground. And this 1 arbiter still into this position, forgotten here by Best. Sadly for him, he's going to lose the arbiter, so a little bit of a misclick, a little bit of a mistake here by Best. And yeah, I believe he was busy microing the units and also establishing the newly base. Of course he was maxed out, he could afford to lose some units, given the fact that he has yet another expansion here guarded with some cannons, so the vultures won't have any chance into moving forward. Same time, the Terran still plays it very defensively. 50-minute mark, still no major move out. He's only moving out with his vultures. But yeah, the cannons will of course give good protection. At the same time, they will protect the next base here for the Terran, sorry, for the Protoss, as the dragoons are still patrolling here the map. For the Protoss, once again the drop is being completed here by the Terran, sorry. So some workers will fall here for Best. A very good job by this dropship harassment. So he might try to add Get another dropship. 2 dropships would be very good for him. With just a couple of vultures, we saw actually how much damage he has done towards the economy from best. The same can be done here into this location. So dropships look like it's going to be the answer here for the Terran. I believe he's going to add many of them. But no, he's actually going for Goliaths and tanks. So in order to cripple the economy from your opponent, I believe dropship harassment with vulture is a very strong tool to have. So let's see what's going to happen here. 2 weapons upgrades. We have an arbiter. Is he going for the newly established base? There's also many mines on the ground, so it would be very hard. There's tanks on the high ground. Still, it looks like he's going to commit here forward with his zealots in the front. In the back, we do have the arbiter, but very hard to attack. Given the fact that the wall of is being completed, there's tanks in the back. So many tanks here. Very defensive gameplay here by the Terran. We're closing in towards the 20-minute mark. I believe he just wants to be safe economic-wise. He's inviting the Protoss to attack, but of course it would be suicide to attack such a small gap. The same can be said here. There's even a science vessel patrolling, so the Protoss of course reacting with the same defensive mark, is adding base after base, just trying to mine as many minerals as possible. Even perhaps he's going to be able to take the middle of the map, but it would be very risky as the Terran might move out very soon. Once again, we're going back into clearing mines. Tanks are still in a very defensive position. This is going to be perhaps the major move out by the Terran, as he's at 180 supply almost. Check his upgrades once again, 1 to 2. Let's check the Protoss 2 weapons upgrade, and it looks like he's still sieging up. So slowly but steadily he's just unsieging small groups of tanks and then moving forward with them to give more protection towards the siege tank. I believe he wants to take control of the middle of the map, and also he would have wanted to secure these expansion points right here, but the Protoss being much faster for him. So slowly but steadily the Protoss gaining more and more bases. The Terran needs to hurry up. I believe the next expansion should be around either this or this one right here. It could be contested. At the same time, we have a huge army move out by the Protoss. Some vultures will be intercepted. The tanks will of course be sieged up. There is a science vessel here, but there's also an arbiter here, so the siege tanks are dealing massive amounts of damage. The arbiter has fallen, the zealots are in the front. Some siege tank very slow into sieging up, so some zealots will make it here forward. Nice job by the Protoss. Again, this will be cleared. Of course, the tanks showing their dominance with those upgrades, 1 to 2 upgrades, holding their position nicely spread against the arbiters. So a shuttle gameplay would also be a good idea for the Protoss. Just drop some zealots here into this location, or this one right here, and just so that the tanks will deal splash damage towards themselves and even soak up submines towards the Terran. So the Terran slowly moved out. The Protoss tried to punch forward, but it would have been of course suicide against so many tanks in the back. Pulse players economy looking really strong, and I believe the next contested base is going to be right here. It looks like the Protoss is going to be able to take, sorry, the Terran should be able to take it, as the Protoss is very late into reacting. And yeah, just a couple of zealots have made it here forward, so in the end the Protoss will secure it. Also has all of those bases here secured. Still massive amounts of gateway units from him as a tactic. And yeah, we're closing in towards the 20-minute mark. The vultures are here, so smart move by the Terran, dealing some damage towards the axis. Vultures are falling really fast against the Druids. Protoss should of course be fine. At the same time, once again we see the tanks moving out slowly but steadily. Is he going to try to attack perhaps this expansion point right here? By the looks of it, indeed this is going to be the tactic from the Terran, but he needs to hurry up of course, as so much mining is still happening here. They might meet here in the middle of the map. There's 4 science vessels, so EMP can be very deadly against all of those units. And in comes the Protoss once again. It looks like he's going to commit EMP shockwave versus the stasis trap, as more and more units are finally getting dropped here, with the shuttle doing a great job with those zealot drop bombs. Some zealots even make it here forward, soaking up the splash damage from the tanks. And yeah, more and more tanks are falling here actually before the Protoss. Great psionic storm here, always getting casted against the tanks. A very nice move, but in the end so many dragoons have fallen. Zealots have fallen here as well, and Bast taking quite a beating here from the Terran. He needs to be careful. At the same time, the Terran still responding here with vultures. So yeah, what other tankier units can be made here for the Protoss? I believe the Zealots Dragoon invasion is really strong. Perhaps more high temperature storms with some dropship harassment, perhaps just dropping 2 zealots into this location and 2 high templars just to deal massive amounts of splash damage with the high templar storms would have been a great idea here for best, as we have indeed passed the 20-minute mark. Yeah, the shuttle is still roaming around, but needs to be careful not to take any damage, but it has been of course taken out. So the Terran could continue his slowly but steadily pace, his slowly but steady siege here towards this base. And once this base has fallen, the next base is also going to be in great danger, as the Terran is still on 3 bases only versus the much more bases here from the Protoss. As you can see on the minimap, that the tanks have finally reached the point into moving here forward into attacking the newly established base from the Protoss. So pretty much exposed base. The Protoss has to react. He has 2 arbiters. What exactly can he do against so many mines on the ground? As now the tanks feel even confident to move forward without being sieged up. The defensive siege up is going to happen here in the back. And let's see what the Protoss looks like. He's pretty much going to ignore this and perhaps attack here into this location. Be a very wise idea by him. He might even try a recall straight here forward. So very interesting idea here for the Protoss. Pretty much ignoring the attack from the Terran. I believe he's pretty much going to commit straight forward into this location. Just needs to be careful not to drop or recall those units here. But it's a very hard point to attack. Finally the first arbiter is moving here forward. Is he going to be successful? Straight dropping those units, but also gaining so much splash damage out of the mines. This location right here would have been much better. At the same time, it's a double attack of course here by the Protoss. The siege is still continuing here, so both players of course attacking each other, but yeah, the defense here is looking very strong for the Terran. Just a couple of tanks, and yeah, that recall was sadly very bad, just straight recalling into all of those mines. Sadly for the Protoss, once again losing so many units, but he's once again being maxed out. However, the Terran looks like he's pretty much going to commit, splitting his armies, dealing more and more damage towards the newly established bases here for the Protoss. So the Protoss has to come back to defend. He has those zealots moving forward with the zealots. Perhaps he needs to upgrade also the armor and the shield. Yes, indeed, that's exactly what he has done. So the zealots will be more tanky, at the same time also defensive matrix, and a great storm has been casted here. Very nice move by the Protoss, once again showing us the strength of the high templar storms in the late game. Massive amounts of splash damage, and he should be able to hold this base right here. At the same time, this base can also be held, but he needs to hurry up with some dropships, with some zealots to deal damage towards the tanks. It looks like the Terran is pretty much going to commit a large army towards this base here from the Protoss. And will the Protoss have enough to defend? He is establishing bases now on the other side of the map. There come the zealots and the dragoons as he's trying to intercept those units. At the same time, the vultures will take care of the economy here from the Protoss. So very nice move, but him still not committing. He's actually deciding to move forward with a command center, not killing those probes, interesting enough here for Terran. Yeah, the base will of course fall, so a nice exchange. Finally some action in between the two pros as they're moving here forward, but yeah, some bases are still not being contested. This one as well is being done by the Protoss. Still the workers, interesting enough, are being left alive. I believe the Terran just wants to leave the Protoss with some supply into workers instead of an army, so very smart move by him. I see so many tanks here, and we see the Protoss once again moving out, taking over damage out of the mines. Needs to wait for those observers. And yeah, it's still anyone's game, a very interesting game. Indeed, we have so far quite an interesting game, as we have very soon we'll pass the 25th mark. And yeah, it looks like the Terran once again committing here forward with the vultures, attacking the mining probes. Very important, ignoring the non-mining probes here, and just pretty much attacking the one that aren't mining. At the same time, he's even dealing more and more damage, but it looks like the Protoss is going to attack into this not actually defended base from the Terran. So very interesting move here by the Terran, trying of course to be sneaky, to have a base around here, but it's not defended at all. He's pretty much focusing his defenses into this area right here. And we even have a recall once again happening here. Where exactly did he land? Right here into this location, but there's also many tanks. A very risky move here by the Protoss. Even an EMP is getting casted and all of those units have been killed. So pretty much a suicide mission here for this Protoss. Quite interesting enough, attacking here into this ledge. Perhaps this location right here would have been much better for him to attack or to recall, but in the end he just pretty much suicided all of those units here into the Terran. So yeah, let's see how this is going to continue. This unit, this expansion right here would have been much better if you ask me, to recall, as not that many mines are being still left alive. Here there's so many tanks for the Terran, and then now finally the probes will fall as the Protoss once again is coming in forward with his arbiter gameplay, with his units. Let's see if he's going to commit. The tanks are however on the high ground, so it's going to be very hard for him to move here forward. Checking the upgrades once again, 312. Check the tanks, very good upgrades for him, 2 to 3. So let's see what's going to be doing. I believe another recall is getting prepared very soon by the Protoss. As in come the arbiters. Are we going to be seeing perhaps a transition into some carriers? It would be very interesting to see that, as it looks like the Protoss is once again going to commit here forward. But yeah, taking so much damage out of those mines, I believe he can afford that given the fact that he's maxed out. He's just losing so many zealots here. And we finally see yet another recall happening here straight into this situation right here. So perhaps a small mistake by the Protoss, just pretty much suiciding those units straight into the tanks. But slowly but steadily he's also taking out a couple of tanks. At the same time the Terran with another strong move out here. The Dragoon is being left alive, so let's see where exactly the Terran is going. I believe straight into the newly established base from the Protoss, so this could be very deadly here. So many tanks, so many vultures are moving out for the Terran, so he has more supply than the Protoss, and he's caught the Protoss pretty much off guard. So all of those suicide recalls here by the Protoss will very likely cost him dearly, as the Terran is now deciding to move out, and I believe he's going to attack this base and this base right here, so establishing the control of the middle of the map, also having control of this area right here. So very intelligent gameplay here by the Terran, very patient gameplay here by the Terran as he's moving forward with his units, with his tanks and with his vultures. And yeah, let's see, could also uplift this base and just land it here in the newly base as the siege slowly but steadily continues here for him. Yeah, very soon those tanks will be in range of the base from the Protoss. See how the Protoss is going to react to that, moving forward with his Dragoons, with his Zealots, but there's also many tanks in the back. Also many mines will deal splash damage. A good spell here by the Protoss as the Arbiters are moving more and more forward, so some tanks, even more tanks, are being taken out here by the stasis fields of those Arbiters. So very good job here by the Protoss, abusing the fact that all of those tanks were clumped up together, and so many tanks have fallen here for the Terran. So yeah, stasis field looks very imbalanced here, very strong. Those tanks are clumped up together. If they would have been spreaded, the outcome would have been different, but now the reinforcement can just pull forward and this base is pretty much safe against so many tanks. But yeah, it's very hard to, of course, siege and unsiege Terran tank far apart. So yeah, let's see, units will of course be taken out. Nearly tanks also will be taken out here, so hope by best. And even better for him, given the fact that he has defended this base and this base right here. I still don't see the Terran go for some dropship harassment. Perhaps dropship harassment would have been a great idea, with even some tanks, 2 tanks here into this location, very deadly. Just a small group of tanks could have dealt so much damage. Same can be said here. There are some Dragoons guarding it, but 2 tanks, perhaps even 4 vultures would have been very deadly here into this location. The Protoss looks like this once again going to try to commit forward into this location, into attacking here the newly established bases from the Terran that are slowly but steadily getting mined out. So it's still Zealots with Dragoons with the Arbiter gameplay as we close in the 30-minute mark. So still anyone's game if you ask me. The Terran just needs to be careful to spread his tanks more, not to soak up the stasis shields from the Arbiter. That is of course very hard to execute, as it might be the Protoss taking the middle of the map. He has the observer here, so he knows when exactly or if there's going to be an expansion. So the middle of the map could be the next target for him, as he's still mining from this location. This is one pretty much maxed out for the Terran. So the Terran currently only mining from 2 bases. Quite an interesting game we have. And yeah, like I told you, still anyone's game. Perhaps a small advantage here for the Protoss as he has more supply and the Terran currently not mining into this location, so the Terran urgently needs those SCV2 mines as the Protoss is now pretty much moving out. But yeah, once again he's going to get greeted by so many tanks, and even the science vessel is here to cast some EMP shockwave. Have a look where exactly the Protoss is going to attack. Could of course try another recall. Let's see if he's going to recall here. There's not that many defenses here actually for the Terran. The defenses are way here in the front, so he could abuse this fact. There's only one turret guarding it. We might see him try to recall into that location as he's still roaming around the map, still trying to find a good position for his army. Cans do go out at the same time. Some vultures are also moving out. Could also recall into the production buildings from the Terran. That would also be very smart by him as he's playing very patiently here. And let's see, the arbiters are indeed moving out straight forward. No illusions. I believe we're going to be seeing a recall very soon indeed. Great straight recall forward. No mines here into defending those tanks, and so much damage is going to be taken out of those tanks as the zealots have also made it here forward. The Reef is going to commit straight forward into the expansion point. They're likely going to secure the ramp. Yeah, the zealots are now pretty much in the front, but some zealots will of course deal damage to the factories in the back, and some units are on idle here, so Protoss needs to be careful into controlling those units more. I believe he could have great attacked the economy. There is the response from the Terran. He's moving forward to the base from the Protoss as more and more units are getting killed here. Left and right, the SCVs will fall very soon here for the Terran. As yeah, the great attack is of course going to happen here, so the response is clear by the Terran. He's going straight towards the newly established base from the Protoss as both players are dealing massive amounts of damage towards their economies. Really nicely done. There is a group of units waiting here, but we of course suiciding to move forward into so many siege tanks. And yeah, the command center will land very soon into this either this location or this location right here, as the bases here from the Terran has pretty much fallen. So still anyone's game, quite interesting enough. There's so many tanks still being left alive for the Terran as he's moving up forward, securing this other expansion point. And yeah, many units spread around the map here for the Protoss, as he also has some units here on the high ground. Yeah, some total gameplay here with some drops could be very small. Dropping some zealots here will deal so much splash damage towards those units, or even a recall straight into this location could deal so much damage, as the tanks from the Terran looks like they're pretty much going to commit here forward. The Protoss patiently waiting, but he has to hurry up, he has to regroup his units very soon. He's going to engage here. It's going to take quite some damage. I believe his units will fall quickly. Some tanks will fall here as well, but in the end it has to be done as to give some protection towards the expansion. So it does tell you that the siege continues. The high templars here will of course be very important into dealing splash damage towards the tanks in the back. And yeah, the Terran thinks that he has the high ground, thinks that he has the advantage, but yeah, many more units will pop out for the Protoss. He is pretty much maxed out, but at the same time he's losing more and more of those units, so those tanks really crucial for the Terran, dealing more and more splash damage. In comes the recall once again from the back this time, so the Terran army pretty much surrounded by the Protoss units. Still the tanks hold their position and just deal massive amounts of splash damage left and right here. Very nice move by the Terran, and all of a sudden look at how much supply the Protoss has lost, as he has dropped from being maxed out into 125 and only 24 workers for him. Yeah, let's see how exactly he's going to clear this, as the Terran has established his base and pretty much cleared the Protoss base. At the same time he's going to add another command center here, so very smart gameplay here by the Terran, sorry, and all of a sudden he has the economic advantage with more workers than his opponent. So yeah, the regrouping is going to happen here for the Protoss. Some newly established base is going to be made here, but there's so many tanks still being left alive, and we have changed practically positions, as now the Terran has switched into the upper right part from the lower left. It looks like we're going to be having an attack here. The zealots are in the front. There has been an EMP shockwave, we're going to be seeing some stasis fields. Yes indeed, and 4 tanks have been taken out. The high temper is still pretty much alive. He could cast a storm with stuff by him, but the ramp is still blocked. Even the SCVs will be pulled to block this ramp, and once again a high temper could cast a good high temper storm into this location, as the tanks will of course hold their ground and once again deal good splash damage towards the units from the Protoss. So what an interesting game we have so far. Still anyone's game. The Terran has of course the control of the high ground, so it's really hard for the Protoss to come in. At the same time, some units are moving here forward for the Terran. He has nicely split these units as the space is pretty much under attack now, and some probes will fall here. The last probes from the Protoss are taking quite some damage here from the Terran, so very smart move. The Protoss has to come back with some units to defend this, and probe after probe is still getting sniped here, so very nice move by the Terran, splitting his troop at the same time, buying time towards his newly established base, but he still has to finish this one, as the last Goliaths will of course fall here for the Terran. But yeah, it's still anyone's game. Let's see if we're going to be seeing another recall. This base should mine, of course. The Protoss not paying attention. This important base right here should of course mine, as 2 probes are on idle. Yeah, let's see what's going to happen here. The base should of course finished here by the Terran. He also has to be careful with microing those SCVs into mining. Yes, sadly here for the Protoss not paying attention for this base right here. There's not that much minerals being left. Let's see if he's going to pretty much commit here forward. At the same time, some probes here on idle for him. I believe he's busy mining, microing those units here, and perhaps even doing a recall. And there it is. The recall could be started very soon by him. A great recall straight into those tanks, and another recall into this location. So pretty much a great siege attempt here by him. At the same time, we have a great high tempo storms. Those zealots are of course much more tankier with their upgrades, but still so much damage is being taken by the Protoss, as he has lost once again quite some large amount of those units. Still not mining from here, still not mining from this place, so the Protoss with some small mistakes, this might cost him the game, as the reinforcements are going in here forward for the Terran. There are still some tanks, but sadly for the Terran only 4, so the reinforcements could be engaged here. High Templars already taking some damage. And yeah, great storm taking out a tank indeed. Still 4 tanks on the high ground with EMP shockwave available very soon. Let's see, even some CVs are being brought here forward to block the entrance. And yet, could this be the winning move by the Protoss? It's not having that many units. Great storm, however, being casted, and yet still more and more damage is being taken here. The tanks hold their ground, and the High Templar even casting a storm here next to him. So what a crazy game indeed we have here, as storm after storm is being casted, but the defensive matrix does a great job here for the tank. And I don't know how much the Protoss has been left. He even suffers here with a nice drop with the tank. So we are closing towards the end of this game. I believe perhaps the Terran might have done it here, however still some probes are being transferred over. And finally he's mining from this location, so I believe, no, he's going to GG out. So he finally realizes, of course, that it was just way too much. I believe the Protoss has played way too aggressively. He has done some really pretty bad recalls into this location, straight into the tanks. Also a bad recall happened here, and at the same time he tried to recall here forward. That was pretty good for him, but perhaps a shuttle gameplay would have been much better by him into abusing the High Templar storms into the SCVs. I believe the SCVs, if he would have crippled the economy more from the Terran, it would have been much better for him. But yeah, in the end, the stasis traps were very good by the Protoss, but I believe he played it way too aggressively. He should have calculated a little bit more, and he should have used more High Templar storms. Still a very good game, very patient game by the Terran, bringing him the victory. So let's check the stats once again, as I'm going to be clicking left and right. A very good game by both players. Of course, best try to finish the game faster, and a very defensive gameplay here by the Terran, and a very patient game with the drop ships in the end bringing him the victory. So quite an interesting long game. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Tommy signing out.